on the membranes. These sensors are needed to coordinate the cell's activity with the rest of the body. One type of sensors controls the boundaries up to what extent the cell will grow. These sensors recognize the presence of other cells in their proximity. They maintain a safe distance from neighboring cells via the messaging system between the membrane receptors and the DNA mechanism of the cell that control its growth and reproduction. They do not encroach on other cells in the area. Cancer cells have lost these social skills. Such cells grow into a mass that breaks boundaries and encroaches on the space normally allocated to their neighboring tissues. The process in which the efficiency of these sensors is reduced and eventually lost to the point of forming cancerous growth is called receptor downregulation. Cancer is a selfish, invasive type of tissue that develops within the organ of the body. It breaks the natural boundaries of the mother organ and eventually spreads rapidly, disproportionately, and invasively, resulting in fatal disruption of normal body functions to the point of exhaustion and death. Cancer cells are anaerobic and can only live in a low oxygen and acidic environments. This is the result of low water flow and inefficient environmental cleanup. The acidic metabolic wastes are not washed away efficiently and regularly because of inefficient circulation in the region of cancer cells. The water flow of the blood should also bring oxygen to the area. The consequential environmental change when the cleansing process is inefficient predisposes the conversion of normal cells to new cell types that thrive in a hostile and insufficiently oxygenated local environment. Cancer cells have stem cell characteristics. They have the capability to achieve sophistication and develop specialized characteristics of normal cells. Thus, the loss of cell membrane sensors and the conversion of sophisticated cells into primitive and selfish cells that thrive in a low oxygen and acidic medium is the first step to cancer formation. For these transformed cells to develop into cancer cells, a multi-system physiological disruption must occur. If just one of them did not happen, cancer cells would not develop. Dr. Batman-Hellich claims that there are 4 physiological dysfunctions that leads to cancer formation, and these physiological dysfunctions are the results of a state known as chronic unintentional dehydration. When a person goes into a state of chronic intentional dehydration, 66% of water inside the cell is lost, 26% of water outside the cell is lost, and 8% of water in the blood is lost. The 4 physiological dysfunctions are as follows. 1. Damage to the DNA. 2. Reduced efficiency of the DNA repair system. 3. Receptor downregulation. And 4. Suppression of the immune system. The first physiological disruption is DNA damage, a prerequisite to cancer formation. The human body is composed of about 100 trillion water-dependent cells, each endowed with the same genetic secrets of life. The cells have accepted a division of labor for an orderly function of the body. Dr. Batman-Hellich has identified pain as a signal of water shortage in the vicinity of where pain is felt. Just as a drought threatens the survival of local vegetation, a drought in the interior of the body threatens the survival of cells in the drought-stricken areas of the body. Pain is the cry of the gene pool in the drought-stricken area that cannot be washed and cleansed from the destructive, toxic waste accumulating in the locality. Fortunately, the body possesses a strict water rationing program that delivers some water to preserve life, but not enough to completely flush off the toxic acidic metabolic waste that would cause pain. Pain is produced when there is not enough water and the acidic metabolic waste that accumulate cannot be cleansed. I often say that one of the vital functions of water is to eliminate acidic metabolic waste and toxins out of the body. With insufficient amount of water, these metabolic waste accumulate to a certain acidic level, and this state eats into and damages the gene pool. Normally, the kidneys regulate the balance between acid and alkaline states of the body fluids, provided they receive enough water to produce adequate volume of urine. The pH in the interior of the cells is regulated at 7.4, an alkaline state. When the body becomes more and more dehydrated and urine production is diminished, the mechanism of acid-alkaline balance becomes inefficient. The acid is not collected from some of the areas outside the emergency water distribution programs, and when it stays and builds up in the cells, it damages the vital structures in the cell. This is when DNA damage takes place, repeatedly and often. The accumulation of the acid eventually destroys the cell and outpaces over the capability of the DNA repair systems and the quality control processes installed in the cells. This imbalance causes the transformation of the DNA. The onset of dehydration might well be established with inadequate water intake, intake of wrong beverages, such as the commonly favored commercial beverages that are mostly laden with caffeine, intake of diuretics, such as furosemide, spironolactone, and hydrochlorothiazide, and the intake of alcoholic beverages. The reduced efficiency of DNA repair system is the second physiological dysfunction. When the body becomes dehydrated, insufficient raw materials are delivered to make the repair of the damaged vital parts. The transport of essential nutrients and oxygen to the various systems of the body is another vital function of water. When the cell runs short of the raw materials needed for repair, the body has to release some of its stored elements and use them on an emergency basis in whatever capacity they can function. As part of this process, proteins are broken down and their amino acids are recycled and used. Several amino acids are used as antioxidants that neutralize the acidic toxic waste. This process results to the gradual depletion of amino acids, and one of the most important amino acid is tryptophan. Another amino acid sacrificed as an antioxidant is tyrosine, the building block for a number of excitatory neurotransmitters. Tryptophan, when coupled with two lysines to form a tripod enzymes that has an intricate role within the quality control system of the DNA transcription process. This enzyme cuts and splices transcription errors in newly formed cells. Lysine easily gets damaged when the body gets dehydrated. Thus, the depletion of tryptophan reserves resulting from dehydration can contribute to cancer cell formation, since the enzyme that checks the formation of aberrant DNA is prevented from working. Receptor downregulation is the third physiological dysfunction. This process is a gradual erosion of the controlling systems that would normally prevent ongoing deviations from the norms of the body. Today, receiver dishes are commonly used for electronic communications through the air. Working on a similar principle, the human body also utilizes special kinds of receiver proteins on the membranes of its nearly 100 trillion cells that constantly receive specialty coded chemical messages that get attracted to their messenger-specific receptors in their fluid environment. The purpose of the union of the messenger chemical with its receptor on the cell membrane is code-specific communications with the command centers in the brain. It tells some groups of cells to act or stop activity. The reason the so many different chemical messengers for different sets of cells. The presence of adequate messenger-specific receptors on the membranes of a cell is a prerequisite to its normal operation. A healthy cell is well equipped with protein receptors on its membranes. The health of any cell depends on its rate of protein production against its recycling process of protein breakdown. There are two kinds of protein-specific enzymes. The kinase group of enzymes engages in protein manufacture, and the protease group engages in the breakdown of proteins. In dehydration, the resource management programs begin to recycle some of the protein reserves of the body. To do so, protease activity and the rate of protein breakdown will overtake the rate of protein production. During dehydration, histamine breaks into the energy reserves in the calcium deposits in the cells and eventually in the bones to release needed extra energy, and much loose calcium is produced. The excess calcium released is a signal that the energy source of the body are getting depleted and that other energy-containing components in the protein structures, such as the muscle tissue, are also to be used. The proteases become mobilized, initially breaking into the protein structures within the cells of the water-deprived areas and the liver, and eventually attacks the larger muscle mass in the body. The protein structures of the cells include receptors on their cell membranes. These receptors include the boundary sensing proteins that would stop the cell growth into the neighboring cell's physical space. With the loss of such sensors, the potential tumor cells grow disproportionately into large, irregular lumps. At the beginning, this kind of growth may still remain benign. However, the tendency for the benign tumor to transform into full-blown cancer is still present if the physiological dysfunctions continue to progress. This will happen when the next stage of protein breakdown inside the cell and within the DNA transcription system takes place. Protein kinase C is a large-sized protein-making enzyme connected to the DNA transcription process. It is found in normally active cells. It is responsive to the on-off switching processes within the cell. It is integrated in the physiological roles of the cell in its residing organ. Normally, this kinase is efficient when the primary amino acids it works with are sufficiently available in the body and adequately present in the cell. It uses these amino acids for the manufacture of essential components of the cell, such as its membrane receptors. The membrane receptors provide personality, culture, and knowledge on the cell. Cells that are supplied with a full array of receptors are educated and sophisticated cells. These fine-tuned cells with their specific roles are cells that respond to the needs of the organ. When the proteases begin to break down the receptor components of the cell, they also break down protein kinase C, creating a new kinase, the protein kinase M. Protein kinase M is half the size of protein kinase C and is totally disobedient to the on-off calls of the cell. It is an autonomous protein-making enzyme that gets gradually phased into the daily life of the cell. This is when the cell regresses into the earlier primitive form of itself, losing its sophistication and its status as an integrated member of the local cell community. Now, it is only obedient to its selfish genetic drive to survive at any cost, much like the primitive single stem cell life, the form at the start of life, a breed of genetically selfish cells with a powerful will to survive in their hostile, low oxygen and acidic physiological environment. Later, these cells acquire sophistication and secondary characteristics compatible with their new environment, the hostile, low oxygen, acidic state. It is also possible for the cancer cells to also achieve their previous sophistication and secondary characteristics if the local conditions and availability of raw materials is optimized to revert to normal. After all, they have all the genetic apparatus to do so. This may lead to the remission of cancer. Suppression of the immune system is the fourth physiological dysfunction. Dehydration directly and indirectly suppresses the immune system of all places at the level of the bone marrow. In the indirect suppression of the immune system, when histamine acts to regulate the available water along with the essential nutrients water should carry, quite a number of ruthless subagents are commissioned to modulate the events. The first thing that happens is the increased release of a chemical called vasopressin. This substance has a dual role. It immediately causes some membrane receptors to transform into porous waterhead-like sieves with holes only wide enough to let water molecules without any of the osmotically held elements to go through the holes single file, one at a time. This filter system is designed to hydrate the most vital cells in the body, the brain cells, liver cells, the kidney cells, the gland cells, and more. Vasopressin also creates added constrictive pressure in the capillaries and causes forced filtration and injection of freed water from the blood into the cells in its areas of operation. This mechanism delivers water into the cells by the process of reverse osmosis. This process, however, makes the consistency of blood more concentrated and thicker. The manufactured free water can now perform vital, life-saving work inside its cell in the drought-stricken areas. In the kidneys, vasopressin helps retain water and concentrate the urine. Vasopressin's function of forcing water to the cell membrane is its primary role. Its secondary function is to act as a very strong modulating cortisone release factor. It influences the adrenal glands to release very potent hormones such as cortisol, cortisone, corticosterone, and aldosterone that initially prevent inflammation and also force the kidneys to retain salt 1,000 times more forcibly than normal, thereby expanding the body of water in the environment around the cells so that more can be filtered and injected into vital cells. Cortisol and cortisone are strong anti-inflammatory agents. They exert this action by suppressing the immune system via the activation of agents such as interleukin-1. The actual damage is done when interferon production is arrested. Interleukin-1 is a potent immune suppressive neurotransmitter an activator of tissue breakdown. It inhibits interferon production. Histamine has dual roles as water regulator and immune system activator. When histamine engages its water regulating capacities during an intentional chronic dehydration, the immune system has to be disengaged. Otherwise, water shortage in the body would cause a flare-up of the immune system without any need for its overactivity. The role of interleukin-1 in tissue breakdown is compatible with the need to release some resources from the tissues of the body from cannibalism of the body's own tissues to the point of causing autoimmune diseases. Why does it inhibit interferon production? In inflammatory conditions, the affected area is shut off from free flow of circulation, thus oxygen. The swollen, inflamed region becomes overcrowded with defending white blood cells to the point of pus formation. The oxygen supply from blood circulation cannot keep with its rate of use in the center of the inflamed area. This is where interferon reveals its role. By acting on its receptor, interferon stimulates an enzyme that causes substantial production of ozone and hydrogen peroxide from tryptophan and its family of indolamines. These have a great affinity for storing oxygen and converting it to superoxygen. Hydrogen peroxide and ozone act as local antiseptic against bacteria and anaerobic cancer cells. Some free oxygen is also provided for the stranded white blood cells in the middle of the inflamed and isolated area. This is how interferon normally acts as a natural and vital anti-cancer chemical in a properly hydrated body. In early dehydration, interferon flare-up without justification is not needed. Yet, this indirect but very potent mechanism of interferon shutdown by histamine is why chronic dehydration is the primary culprit in cancer formation. The human body, under normal circumstances, has all the faculties to prevent transformed cells from becoming cancerous, but only if it does not fall into the chemical abyss of dehydration. Let us now see how histamine inhibits the immune system effectively and directly. The defense system of the body depends on the precise action of its white cells. There are 6 different types of white cells: neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, lymphocytes, and plasma cells. The lymphocytes constitute about 30% of all white cells in the body. Most white cells, much like constantly cruising police cars, leave the blood circulation and enter into various tissues to bolster the state of local defense system. Then, they re-enter the blood circulation via the lymphatic system. Some white cells become fixed local protective shields until used and then replaced. Lymphocytes are mostly responsible for the manufacture of antibodies to offending agents, whereas other white cells engage in eating and digesting dead and dying cells as well as intruding elements. The antibodies from the lymphocytic line of defense attach themselves to the element that is recognized as an outsider, such as bacteria, viruses, parasites, and not only neutralize their toxicity, but also label them for the scavenging cells to devour and digest. The lymphocytes that need to engage in antibody formation get programmed in the thymus gland, possibly in the liver, and definitely in the bone marrow. The ones schooled in the thymus gland are called T cells, and those from the bone marrow, B cells. T cell lymphocytes are divided into three types, namely the helper T cells, the cytotoxic or killer T cells, and the suppressor T cells. Among them, these T cells regulate immune system via chemical agents that produce such as the interleukins 2 to interleukin 6, interferon, and stimulant factor for growth of the other white cells. Histamine is also a major regulator of the complex roles of the white cells in the operation of the immune activity when there is a genuine call on the immune system. However, the system need not and indeed must not become activated by histamine when it engages in the drought managing programs of the body. The immune system is suppressed by histamine in the bone marrow, where all the immune activity of the body originates. Suppressor T cells are highly responsive to the action of histamine. There are twice as many suppressor cells as helper cells permanently residing in the bone marrow. Additionally, the suppressor T cells in circulation also sequester the bone marrow once stimulated by histamine. Thus, histamine puts a tight lock on the bone marrow activity through its strong influence on the larger local population of suppressor T cells. This is how histamine prevents flare-ups of the immune system at its bone marrow origin when it gets engaged in the drought management programs of the body. Not only does proper hydration apply to the prevention of diseases such as cancer and autoimmune disorders, but it also highlights how gradually and yet surely shortchanging the body from the water it must receive daily is an invitation to disaster. Dr. Batman-Hellich claimed that water can reverse more than 90 major and minor health problems. I hope that you have understood how chronic unintentional dehydration contributes to the cause of cancer. While the body is alive and has the will to survive, it is possible to reverse disease processes. It is not possible at present to make an old individual into a teenager, but it is possible to make him feel young again by taking the aches and pains of his age away. If the body chemistry is optimized to its maximum efficiency, reversing the aging process can be achieved. The body is a complex chemical plant that works with what you give it. Give it the right ingredients, and it will grow along as it is designed to do so. Give it the wrong ingredients, and you force it to dangerous chemical pathways that manifest the symptoms and signs leading to a disease. When the body is given the best ingredients, vibrant health will once again be restored. This is when the disease processes goes into remission. Repeat the same mistakes, and you will reap the same harvest, disease. This is when cancer recurs. Don't make the mistake thinking health problems are cured by cytotoxic medications, chemotherapies, surgical procedures, or radiological protocols. The disease process continues if the internal chemistry of the body is not optimized by the ingredients you give it. Thus, sending cancer into remission is possible only if the right steps are taken. The right steps one should take are the following. First, attitude. If you want to live longer, do not fear death. Death is unavoidable. If you know how resilient the human body is, you would not fear death until it arrives. Rely on the survival mechanisms installed in your body. You must not give up. You need to generate the chemistry of a body that is determined to fight. With the regenerative powers of hope, you will be able to direct the defense systems of your body towards survival from any naturally reversible health problems. According to Dr. Batman-Hellich, cancer is a truly reversible health problem. Second, water. Water is the most important substance for life. If there was no water, oxygen would not be able to reach the deepest corners of the cells. It is true that oxygen is used in the component of water, but as a primary substance only. Water is more important for the prevention and cure of all sorts of health problems, and most especially to cancer. You have to prudently prevent dehydration. You must not wait to get thirsty in the traditional sense of developing a dry mouth before you drink. Dry mouth is not an accurate indicator of early pathology-producing thirst. A good indicator is the color of the urine. Drink enough that urine fluctuates between perceptibly light yellow and colorless. To hydrate the body properly, follow the formula 50 millimeters per kilogram body weight per day. The adult human body is approximately 70% water, and so the old rule that we must drink 8 to 10 glasses a day is very erroneous. After computing the right volume of water to drink, this is the manner that one should drink water throughout the day. 1/4 of the total daily water requirement is taken upon waking up in the morning and at bedtime. 1/8 of the total daily water requirement is taken 30 minutes before lunch and supper. 1/8 of the total daily water requirement is taken 2.5 hours after breakfast and lunch. Drink additional 250 ml of water for every 30 minutes of any strenuous physical activity. Drink whenever thirsty. Drink purified drinking water purchased from accredited drinking water refilling station or water filtered through a drinking water system certified by the National Sanitation Foundation International or NSF as Class 1 for standards 42, 53, 58, and 401. The major contaminants in water are sediments, microorganisms, chemicals, and heavy metals. These contaminants must be eliminated from your drinking water to avoid any adverse health effects. Since most purification technologies eliminate the healthy minerals, they must be restored utilizing Ionique mineral drops. Water without minerals is acidic and dead and cannot hydrate the body properly. For more information, you may visit www.ioniqueminerals.com and read my article on proper hydration. It will guide you on how to hydrate your body effectively. Third, minerals. A balance of minerals in the diet is crucial to the prevention of cancer. It becomes even more critical for the treatment of cancers. You need minerals to expand the volume of blood in circulation so it stays diluted and reaches all the corners of the body. Minerals also help make the inside of the cells alkaline, essential for preventing and treating cancer. For adequate mineral supplementation, I recommend Ionique mineral drops, manufactured by Mineral Resources International or MRI, because it is 100% natural, potent, ionic, and contains at least 72 health-giving macrominerals and trace minerals that provide sufficient alkaline minerals to help prevent and correct acidity. Several studies have revealed that the regular intake of magnesium, selenium, zinc, iodine, etc. have offered impressive benefits to cancer patients. I recommend 100 drops of Ionique mineral drops and 60 drops of our elemental selenium daily. To avail of these elements, please visit www.ioniqueminerals.com ioniqueminerals.com. Fourth, green vegetables. The green color of vegetables is provided by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll contains much magnesium. In the same way, hemoglobin contains much iron. They are both oxygen carriers. Chlorophyll has the effect of making the body alkaline. Green vegetables contain many vital elements needed to sustain life, such as vitamins, minerals, proteins, essential fats, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. Examples include ampalaya, bok choy, broccoli, Chinese pechay, green papaya, kale, kangkong, lettuce, malunggay, okra, pechay, upo, saluyot, sayote, spinach, string beans, and various vegetable tops or talbos. Fifth, fruits. Colorful fruits and berries have many antioxidant properties. They make the body alkaline. Fresh fruits prevent free radical damage. The body can meet many of its mineral needs, such as potassium and calcium, via fruit. Citrus fruits, green mango, tomatoes, avocado, melon, and more are God's medications for a sick body, especially for a cancer-stricken body. Have several servings of them every day. Other good examples include berries, buko, dragon fruit, guava, guyabano, pomelo, and strawberry. Avoid fruits that turn yellow when ripe, such as ripe mango, papaya, banana, and jackfruit. Their sweetness may further promote cancer growth. Avoid imported fruits, such as apple, pear, oranges, kiwi, and the rest, because they are usually laden with pesticides and other agricultural chemicals. Sixth, proteins. Proteins are essential as building blocks for the physical structures of the body. They are also used for the manufacture of enzymes, receptors, and neurotransmitters in the brain. Proteins tend to make the body acidic. Thus, there should be a balance between the amount of fruits and vegetables in the diet and the protein intake. An ideal composition is around 80% fruits, vegetables, and legumes, which are high in protein and ideally balanced in amino acids. Protein taken must always be with balanced amino acid composition. Legumes such as lentils, chickpeas, green beans are about 28% protein. Only 20% of the protein in the diet should be from other sources, such as eggs. Our offices provide the list of foods and beverages classified altogether as our special diet, and you can have it for free. Just visit FB account Ionique Mineral Philippines and request for the list. Seventh, meditation and prayers. Meditation and prayers reduces stress. It is our modern day stress punctuated by the fast-paced life and constant senseless needs and unneeded wants that saddles us with the disease and shortens our precious lives. Adopt minimalism. Meditation and prayer connect you with the inner workings of your body, which is constantly obedient to the laws of nature and its life forces. Once you meditate or pray, the functionally quiet management side of your brain will connect to its cognitive side and generate insights into what has been wrong and why you have developed your health problems. Faith and meditation will melt away the inner fears and negative thoughts. They will reverse the chemical pathways of fear and replace it with the new chemistry of salvation and repair. Eighth, love. Love is a powerful healer. Giving love or receiving it. There is an inherent insecurity that is associated with disease, but most especially with cancer. When you love somebody, you want to survive to continue to be with that person. When you receive love, your body becomes energized and your immune system will lift its level of action in the fight against the disease. Love changes the chemical pathways of the brain, and this will affect your body's resistance. The love of God for those who believe in Him has a similar effect. Patients are not just their disease conditions. They are vulnerable human beings. Doctors or healers must freely project their feelings of empathy and sincerity in their dealings with the sick. It is possible that their empathy might be a stronger medication than anything they might prescribe. Unfortunately, it is noted that medicine today suffers from the bad effects of too many get-rich-quick doctors and researchers who have entered the profession for its commercial possibilities, a reason for a very costly sick care system without the ability to reverse a single health problem. I would like to share a dialogue I read while doing some research. It read like this. A wise physician said to me, "I have been practicing medicine for 30 years. I have prescribed many things, but in the long run, I have learned that for most of what ails the human creature, the best medicine is love." "What if it doesn't work?" I asked. "Double the dose," he replied. Ninth, laughter. Laughter has a similar effect to love in the immune system. Periodic laughter is being used as an additional therapeutic measure. People that laugh forcefully a number of times a day boost their immune system. 10th, forgiveness. Forgiveness has a powerful positive impact on the brain chemistry. If someone undeservedly slaps you in the face, the pain of the slap will disappear in a few minutes. However, if you take his action as a personal insult that has to be avenged, every time you think of that slap, regardless of what your immediate reaction is at that time, the pain of the slap will come back to your face, and your brain chemistry will become engaged in a negative trip all over again. Such trips tend to consume the brain and convert its constructive powers into the negative energy of destruction. Marianne Williamson cited, "Forgiveness does not mean that we suppress anger. Forgiveness means that we have asked for a miracle, the ability to see through mistakes that someone has made to the truth that lies in all of our hearts. Forgiveness is not always easy. At times, it feels more painful than the wound we suffered. To forgive the one that inflicted it. And yet, there is no peace without forgiveness. Attack thoughts towards others are attack thoughts towards oneself." 11th, exercise. Exercise is one of the physiological pedestals on which life stands. It helps blood circulate into all corners of the body, hydrate and oxygenate its regions, and preserve local health. Proper regional hydration and oxygenation of tissues are sure steps to cancer prevention. Exercise is vital for efficient lymphatic flow back to the heart. Muscle contraction exerts pumping pressure and forces the lymph to flow into the lymphatic vessels upward and onward to reach the heart and get mixed with blood to be circulated again. Exercise will direct the body physiology towards conservation of tryptophan and the other essential amino acids, vital for the prevention of cancer. 12. Sunlight. Sunlight and its subset of light systems reaches and stimulates special sensors on the skin of the face and the forehead, as well as the light sensors of the eye. These energy fields of light program and set the biological clock of the body to naturally integrate the hormonal secretions of its glands. Sunlight is a healing energy. Sunlight converts cholesterol to vitamin D and encourages storage of ATP energy in the calcium deposits within the cells of the body, a vital step in boosting the immune system activity of the body. 13th, music. Water is influenced both by what it hears and by the toxins that pollute it. This was discovered by an outstanding Japanese scientist named Maru Emoto. He demonstrated this phenomenon by influencing water with sound or taking water from sources that already contain toxins and then freezing that water until it forms ice crystals. Classical and harmonious music produce clear, smooth ice crystals. The ice from water that contain toxins produce abnormal and deformed crystals. Even kind or unkind words such as thank you or devil written on glass influence the shape and texture of the ice crystals. Dr. Emoto reported that love and thankfulness showed the most beautiful crystals in the world. Music like that of Mozart, Bach, and Chopin produced different variations on happy ice crystals. The body is 70% water. The influence of harmonious sound can translate into the inner harmony of our body with the powers of nature in us, exerting strong healing influence. Happiness-generating music should be used in the treatment protocol of any disease, particularly as its effective natural process in cancer treatment. 14. Humanitarian undertakings. Humanitarian undertakings, better if faith-based, program the body into purposeful, constructive mode of life. Such activities take you away from constant thoughts of yourself and focus some of your brain's energy expenditure on humanitarianism. This produces a sense of fulfillment that has a positive effect on the physiology of the brain and can reverse the stress of life. Undertakings based on genuine empathy have a healing effect on the brain. And 15th, microwaves. Avoid microwave radiation. Microwave radiation, be it from high-tension wires, TV, radio, and phone towers, or cooking equipment, is not good for the body. In the microwave oven, an electronic tube known as magnetron generates an alternating power field. Water, amino acids, minerals, protein, fat particles in the food substance being heated are forced to align themselves in the direction of the alternating electromagnetic field that affects the nutritional value of the food. Microwaves have carcinogenic effects on the human body. Dr. Hans U. Hertel of the World Foundation for Natural Science stressed the hazards of microwaves for people who were constantly exposed to them during the conference in 1999 in Lindau, Germany. He divided a piece of liver into two. He studied one section under a microscope and noted the normal liver cell structures. The other section was microwaved via a rod inserted in the tissues. The slide from the second section showed a total disruption of the liver cell architecture. The cytoplasm of the cells became mushy and all the solid particles separated and grouped together in a linear fashion. Different mineral elements had separated from their attachments and were grouped together. Calcium with calcium, sodium with sodium, and so on, as if they had been centrifuged. Constant use of mobile phones is noted to have similar effects on any tissue it can reach. If you want to stay healthy or wish to recover from a disease, particularly cancer, eat fresh food. If you prefer to cook it, use regular convection heat. Aside from proper hydration, These are the added steps you have to undertake to help conquer cancer. Dr. Everett L. Story, the creator of hydrogen bomb several decades ago, invented a formula to combat the radiation poisoning that he and his colleagues suffered after years of working on the Manhattan Project. He once cited that it is time for the general acceptance of the concept that even in some terminal cases, our bodies can be given essential building blocks such as oxygen, electrolytes, minerals, enzymes, amino acids, to repair and reconstitute every living cell within a span of 11 months. I hope I have discussed how proper hydration and mineral supplementation may help you conquer cancer, especially at its early stage. Should you need to learn more, please feel free to visit any of our branches and product distribution outlets. Our staff will be more than willing to assist you. If you are blessed by this video presentation, please share it with others so they may be blessed as well. Thank you very much for spending your precious time with me. Until we meet again, may the good Lord bless you all. Please stay safe, everyone. Once again, I'm Renato U. Paragas, the Water Dog.
Okay, thank you for watching the second video. If love doesn't work, double the dose. So it's love, laughter, forgiveness, and music could help our cancer patients to restore their health. So again, for those who are watching via Facebook and our YouTube channel, you may send your questions through the comment section. And for those who are watching via Zoom, you may send your questions by typing your questions in the chat message. And then we also would like to acknowledge our viewers from Cebu, Iriga, Davao, Manila, and other parts of the Philippines, as well as our viewers from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you, Ma'am. So for this, for the 5 minutes, so for you to send your questions, it starts now. Thank you.
Hello to all our loyal clients in the Philippines. I am Bruce Anderson, President of Mineral Resources International. I invite you all to watch and listen to Ver One Rev Enterprise radio program entitled